So just to recap, last time we were talking about segmentation, targeting, and positioning. So be careful, because today in the presentation, they were always mentioned about the demographics. You know, we're going to look at the demographics. But when you talk about a target, there is more than just their age and their gender. There are many other characteristics. And some of the best characteristics of a persona is not so much their demographics, because that's the easiest one and the most obvious one, but it's their behavioral. So their behavioral characteristic of segmentation is, why would they want to buy this service or that product? Why? What is the benefit that they're looking for? So when you divide people, you can divide them based on benefits. And so here is a simple table, which is available in Canvas. So if you go in Canvas and you click on extra, and then you look for the STP sample, you will see this. And this is a way you break down. So there's target 1, target 2, target 3, target 4. And these targets are made of characteristics. And these characteristics makes the segment. So there's a segment of age, the segment of benefits, the segment of usage, the segment of loyalty, the segment of personality. So you see, you wouldn't say, what are the targets and what are their demographics? Because their demographics here, I only have the age. I don't have their gender, for example. Yeah, I guess I do have their gender, because I say the age and the gender, but it's not just demographics. There's also usage, there's also loyalty, personality, income, and all of these make for different segment characteristics. Then all of these are composed, and this composition is something that you have to justify. You cannot just describe the composition. So just be very careful. You cannot describe just the composition. Is you have to explain, why is this persona or that target is composed of these characteristics. So how often do I see people just describing the characteristics? 90% of the time. So don't just describe them, explain why is high loyalty important. And that was, for example, something that was important for hardcore, because it was the musical band, so therefore loyalty seemed to be more important than other bands, because there was no singing and all of this. And that was one thing that the students identified, that there were maybe more opportunities for the band if they were singing, but singing was something that they didn't want to incorporate in hardcore. It had to be always musical, and the harp had to be at the center of the band. So that was the only requirement. And during the first interview and the other following interviews, the students could figure out that this was not going to happen and change. So any different way. Positioning is therefore, for each target, a different meaning. And sometimes when you do STP, you concentrate, which means that you're going to have multiple group of people buying the same service or product and having the same positioning. So what I want to talk about today is the first P of product. So the first P, because there's 4 P in marketing, there are the 4 Ps also called the marketing mix. Product is a generic term which includes multiple entities. One of them is a good, a physical object, but also a service, an event, a person, a place, an organization, an ID, and a combination of the above, because not everything is just 100% a service. There may be something that has some services and some goods. So when you market a person, like Alex Ritchie is marketing a person, a politician is a person, a destination for vacation, that's a place, an organization that would be CSUN, an ID would be to saving the environment. So the product has a product mix as well. So there's the marketing mix and there's the product mix. The product mix is all the different elements, ingredients that you're gonna have to have in order to build your product, such as the brand, the packaging, the services that you may have, the after sales services, the warranty, the instructions, and where you're going to sell it, maybe the image of where you sell. There's different level of a product. There's the core benefit, the reason why you buy your product, the 1 or 2 essential reason why you buy this product. Then there's the actual product, which may be the brand, the different features, the packaging, the design, maybe the the quality of the features, and then you have the augmented products, which are not directly the reason why you buy the product, but they help you in making the decisions. So maybe the way, the financing, the warranty, the fact that there's parts and people that can fix it for you, and also the fact there is some help in learning how to use the product. So if you were CSUN, what would be the core benefit? CSUN is a service. CSUN is a service and an organization. It's two things. What would be the core benefit?
Education.
Education, exactly. So the core benefit is education, is acquiring knowledge. What would be the actual product?
Classes.
Courses.
Yes, exactly. The courses, the classes, the programs, the different lecture expertise, the image of CSUN. All right. And then the augmented product. What could that be?
Like football games, basketball games, concerts, all that.
Exactly. Yeah. The pharmacy, the health services, the sport facilities, like you're saying, the psychological help, and the
bookstore.
Yeah, the bookstore, the food services.
Gallery.
Yes, the museum, all of that. So that's the augmented. The career placement would be, the alumni collaboration and all of this. So you see everything as a layer, like an onion shape. So you can't just sell a product. You have to think about what category of product is it? Is it just a good? Is it an organization? And then you can't just think about one thing that you're selling, the education. You have to think about these layers.
Where does parking fit into the whole?
Parking is augmented. Yes.
Augmented. Okay.
Yeah, augmented parking. Yes. Yes, because you wouldn't put it in the actual, in the sense that you don't go to the university really for parking. Like you're desperately looking for somewhere to put your car.
Right, but that's something that's added, or
it's something that is yeah, it's added. I mean, I know there's some university you go there and the parking is worse than CSUN, and then people would be sort of complaining about it. I mean, I think I got 5 tickets in my life in like 30 years or 35 years. I got 5 tickets, and I got 4 at CSUN, and I lived in something like 12 countries. And of those 5 tickets, I got 5 in California and 4 on the campus of CSUN. So it's like, and the parking was not easy, let's say. So there could be worse places. And any other comments on that? So then the product is also classified in 4 types of products, with the 3 types that you're going to understand very easy. And there's one that's maybe a little bit not as clear as the unsought, so I'll spend more time on this. But the convenience product is the one that you buy all the time without thinking much about the differences and the waiting to get what you want. It's convenient, it's mass-produced, it's available everywhere, it's not expensive, you get it. The shopping product, you buy less frequently, it's more expensive, and you see that you can't buy it from everywhere. And you want to get a good deal, so you don't buy it right away. You may be trying it, you may be comparing it. Then the specialty product, it's even more exclusive and expensive than the shopping product. There is not many places. In fact, there could be several places, but there's only one that you would consider where you would buy this product. And you can only think of 1 or 2 brands, and the other one you're not really attached. So in that situation, you would have the very expensive products, the things that you buy 1 or 2 times in your life, and luxury brands, expensive luxury brands will be in that category of specialty products. But then the last one is the one that is a little bit more complicated because it has more facets. It's the unsought product. So it's unsought for 2 reasons. The most obvious reason It's unsought because it does not apply to you. So it's like buying a cane for being someone who is blind, for example. You don't think about buying a cane for blind people if you're not blind. This is only something that you think about, or like a wheelchair. I Most of us don't think about buying wheelchairs because we don't need a wheelchair. So it's unsought because we are not the primary or any target for this type of product. Okay, so it's unsought because of this. But then there's the bigger, larger group of unsought products, which are the products that you don't think about it because you don't know much or you haven't heard about it. So it'd be like someone who lives in Utah, for example, like a surfboard for someone who lives in Utah. It's not like people in Utah, they have an urge to buy surfboards because it's unnecessary in Utah to have a surfboard. And it's maybe more sought after if you live by the coast in Southern California to have a surfboard. Or buying warm clothes in an area which is very warm, is you won't think about this kind of things. So it's, for example, my cognac, for oftentimes, for most people, it's unsought because most people don't really know much about this product. So there's a group of people that are really fan about it. There's a group of people that would drink just about anything. There's a group of people that only drink a certain product. And then cognac, they kind of heard about it, but they never had it. They probably won't try it because they don't know what it is and they're sort of worried. And so there's most products are unsought. And when you are Alex Ritchie, for example, you are by default an unsought product because people don't think about you. Actually, it was this weekend I was watching a show, a music show, and they had concerts, and it was not in the US, it was in Europe. And I was thinking how many of those singers, which were professional on TV and so forth, were not that good if compared to Alex Ritchie. I thought it was much better. And yet they know these people are known by almost everybody, yet Alex Ritchie is unsought. So if you create a new product, it's unsought. If you're selling a product people don't know because you're not as advertised, like hardcore, you're unsought. So that's a huge category which exists for many reasons. And again, one of them may be for the fact that you really don't need it. It's like buying, I don't know, women underwear. I guess men buy women underwear, but not for themselves, I suppose, for the most part. But that would be for your own consumption, buying men underwear, maybe for a woman, but it not make too much sense. Product mix decisions is the fact that you have to think about how many products do you have and how many variation of the products do you need to create. So those variations are going to be important, and it's going to be a question about the variation in terms of different category of products or variation within each category of products, and then the number of products you will have in your portfolio. So if you are selling food products, and let's say you're selling jam, maybe you have one flavor jam, one strawberry jam, but you're also selling milk and you're also selling cheese. And maybe you have one variation just for each one of them. So if you add another category, this will be called the with. If you were to add bread, you're adding with bread being the with. Now, if you add meat, that's another with. If you add vegetable, that's another with of product. But if you were to create more than one type of jam, but now you have strawberry and raspberry, and then you add another one, apricot, and then you add another one, peach, you're actually doing the depth of the product line. So the width is adding another category versus the depth is adding another variation within an existing category. And the length is actually counting all of these products. So so this was an example. Also, when you have a product line, you can think sometimes of doing a down stretch or up stretch. which means that there is different level of quality that you sell, and you may decide to improve the quality, increase the price, and this will be an upward stretch. If you're deciding to sell a product that is more simpler, that is more more no frills type of product, then there will be a downward stretch. Upward and downward stretch are very important because it allows you to increase either your profit margin per product. So if you do a upward stretch, you will sell most likely less products, but you make more money. And if you do a downward stretch, you will be making less profit, but you will be selling many more products. So this can help you in terms of the building market share, for example. If you wanted to grow your presence in the market, you will do less, but many more products. Less complicated, but many more products are more complicated. And by doing this, the reason for doing this may not be only a profit issue. Maybe it's an image issue where you want to improve the overall image of your company by doing an upward stretch in order to improve the standard product that you're selling and showing that you're able to do products that have better qualities. So I talk about the fact that products are multiple things, including objects, but also services. Services are also broken down into 4 characteristics. So a service by definition is different than a good because it's intangible, which means that you cannot touch it. You cannot separate, yes, you cannot touch it. It's not physical, okay? So if you go to a concert is a service because you can't touch the music. The music is produced at the same time as it is consumed. Oh, sorry, it's consumed at the same time as it is produced. So that's the fact that it's inseparable. So the person who's producing it is allowing you to consume it at the same time. It's variable in the sense that it's not something made by a machine. So it's going to vary because it's made by people. So you take, you go for a haircut, and there's one haircut that is good, the other haircut that is not so good, because maybe that person felt different. You go to a concert, this was, the last time you went, it was a better concert. It got worse. It got worse because the artist is not 100% the same every time that they do a concert. So there's variation. Perishability is the fact, again, that it's produced at the same time as it is consumed, and therefore there is no possibility to create inventory. So you have to produce as much as possible for a specific time for the group of people that are right there. So perishability, I guess, is very well explained in the restaurant industry because you have to prepare. In the hotel industry or in the airline industry, because you have to guess how many people are going to be in the hotel and how many people are going to take the plane. And if you guess the wrong way, you're going to make a mistake. So you have to think about ways to increase the number of people if you have low estimates, or to sort of find ways of diffusing people if there's more people wanting to go at one time. So these 4 characteristics are specific to services. A brand is very important because people buy more than the benefits. They also buy the image that the brand offers. So a brand has what's called brand equity. So brand equity is made of 4 elements, which go from the most simplistic element of equity to the most complicated element of equity. So the most simplistic, it's called brand awareness. So brand awareness is how much people do know the brand. It's like, have they heard the brand? Or if you give them a product category, such as toothpaste, do they mention the brand? So if you say reggaeton, who do they say? If you say hip hop, who do they say as the singers? So that's the brand awareness. Then the brand association is how much meaning, values can the people state when they hear about a brand. So they hear about a brand, a simple element that would be like Volvo. What can they say? Nothing. Then they say expensive. One person said that. Another person says safe. And then you can see the number of people that say something that's sort of irrelevant of what the brand is. I mean, Volvo is not famous for being expensive, but it's rather famous for being safe. So you see how many people actually make the right association with the brand. The more people make correct association with the brand, the more likely this brand is going to be purchased for this association. And the more this association is relevant, meaning if there's nobody that looks for a safe car anymore, for Volvo to be known as a safe car, it's pointless because it's not something that people may consider as an important value. So you want, again, to do STP and not PST. So it has to be a brand association is directly connected to positioning. What is the brand known for? Brand quality is the fact that brands have a spectrum from high quality to low quality. And so high quality is, it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying it's good if it's high quality and it's bad if it's low quality. It's just what do people want? If they want a low quality, they need to think again of that brand and this perception of quality. So it's better to be perceived as higher quality than lower quality, but this perception of quality is part of the equity at a higher level of brand association, even though quality may be part of the association, but the simple, it's like positioning. I was telling you, quality doesn't mean anything in positioning because it has to be explained what it is. And it's like a hotel, what's the quality of a hotel? I said that before. It's the fact that it's clean. So brand association should be cleanness. And then quality is separated from the brand association as being just a simple item of measurement for more quality or less quality, with the fact that we believe that the more people perceive that a brand is higher quality, the more likely that they know that brand or want to buy that brand. So, and it's also the benefit of having a brand. If people know that this is a brand, they think it's higher quality. So right in front of me right now, there's a lamp. That lamp looks like a nice lamp, but I don't see any brand. But if on this lamp there was a brand, the fact that I see that it has a little brand on the side, that would, so normally that's what people think, that would reassure me that because that lamp is just not a random lamp, it's a lamp with a brand, it could be, it might be, it's probably a better brand of lamp or a better lamp because someone is putting their name on it. So brand is reassuring, is making people sometimes simplify their decision-making by buying that brand. Brand loyalty is therefore the top of the pyramid, if you want, which is the most important element of brand equity. Brand loyalty is the one that would take, I could do a class just on brand loyalty for 2 hours. So now I'm gonna have to try to say it in 2 minutes. So in 2 minutes, brand loyalty is what helps you sell new products. If people like your brand and you're launching a new product, usually you cross your finger, you're worried. If you have brand loyalty, you're not so worried because with brand loyalty, you are able to get a minimum number to buy your new product. Maybe you sell a new product that doesn't work very well, but it's a new product, people will buy it. You're gonna have time to fix it because the innovator that will buy your brand are most likely to be innovators that are loyal, and therefore they're gonna forgive you for the mistakes. They'll be too happy to buy your brand. I mean, Tesla is like this. Tesla, as a brand of car, has had probably a record number of recall, but the people that have been buying Tesla for whatever reason have been so loyal and excited about the innovation that they have not looked at the recall as a weakness. And therefore it helps when you have brand loyalty. But more important than this, and that's the one that is complicated, is it gives you trade leverage. Trade leverage is if you go to see a radio and you say, I am Alex Ritchie, and I'd like you to play my music. The radio is 99.9% not gonna play your music. But if you say, I'm Alex Ritchie, and I have 2 million subscribers on my YouTube channel of people actually listening to my music, the radio may say, ooh, you have 2 million brand loyal customers, therefore I will play your music. So it's this brand loyalty that's gonna make the trade, which means the other potential collaborators of a musician want to be playing the game with them. It's the fact that they are being followed. So having customers on your side helps you through the channels, through the other partners, the other intermediaries will actually think, I don't know who you are, but I don't care because the people I want are the people who want you. So because they want you, I want you. So that's kind of what is sad in the world we live in is the trade doesn't take much chance for the most part. The trade goes with the flow and will actually follow what other people are doing. And in some way, I can understand why they're doing that. It is just life. So when you have a brand, you have to think about how you're going to sell it. Are you going to sell it to the brand of the manufacturer? Are you going to have one brand for all your products? Are you going to have one brand for a specific market and different brands for different markets? So, or you're going to have no brand. So you're going to sell dog food, or you're going to sell Sears. Everything is Sears. Or you're going to decide, no, the tools are going to be Craftsman and the kitchen appliances are going to be Kenmore. Or you're going to be like Philips, where everything's going to be called Philips. Philips electric screwdriver, Philips TV, Philips radio, Philips foot massage, Philips shaver. Okay, so Philips is, everything is under Philips. So the benefit is when you have only one brand, is you're able to concentrate on that brand and put all your communication on that one single brand across different product categories. The disadvantage, or at least the main disadvantage, is people are confused when a brand is represented under multiple different categories because they think that they can't be as good across all of them because they're so different. And if you're a brand, you oftentimes are better at certain things. So therefore, there will be things that are going to be perceived as inferior products from your brand. And those other products with your brand that are sort of inferior will deteriorate the image of your original type of product using the traditional brands. And so there's pros and cons. There's financial benefits, but there's also potential brand equity negative elements as well. So what brands do sometimes is they use multiple combinations where they would have the main brand and then a model. So a very famous way to do that is through the detergents, where they would have variations. So it's like Procter & Gamble, but they would have multiple brands for the different targets that they're focusing on in order to not confuse the targets with just a variation of one brand across the targets. You would have the addition of a model, like people buy a Beetle. Maybe they think they're buying a Volkswagen Beetle, but for the most part, they think they're buying a Beetle. And so that sub-brand is very important because that becomes the very unique product that they're trying to buy. And it has a positive impact because it becomes more specialized. Almost finished with branding is the concept of brand personality. So I don't want you to remember the details of what are the dimensions of brand personality. I just want you to remember that brands by certain people are perceived almost as human. And therefore they see those brands as having human representation. So they think of them as being trustworthy. They think of them as being competent, sophisticated, rugged, exciting. And so when you manage a brand, you manage the equity. So I talked about the 4 elements before, but you also have to look at it as thinking about the different personality of the brand. And usually people buy the brand as their personality. So they match the personality a little bit, like you see sometimes people who have a dog, you look at the dog and there's some kind of a look-alike between the dog and the person that owns the dog. But sometimes people also buy a brand that has the personality that they would want to get. So they try to get a new personality, or they try to improve their personality by trying to borrow the personality of the brand that they're buying. So you're buying I don't know, Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. Coca-Cola is maybe the bigger brand, and Pepsi is more the exciting brand. And people may be drinking one or the other just based on what they think the brand is communicating. People may be smoking Marlboro cigarettes because of the ruggedness of the brand, and they may be thinking they are more rugged when they be smoking Marlboro cigarettes or something like that. Finally, there's five brand strategies. So when you creating an existing product for and using an existing brand name, you're just doing a line extension. So you have like Danone strawberry yogurt, Danone vanilla yogurt, and you're just using the same brand name. This is just line extension. When you're using the same brand name for a new product category, it's called brand extension. So it's like Barbie doll, Barbie electronics, Barbie video games. So Barbie here is going to be the same name, but for a new category, and you just add the extension of the specific model, specific category of product that you're using. Multi-brands is when you're using multiple brands, but the idea behind this is either is because you want to have more brands in the market. Having more brands, it helps you to flank the market. Flanking the market is the idea that the more brand you have, the harder it is for your competitors to enter the market, because you're sort of covering multiple benefits, multiple targets. So if you're a company, what you hope to do, you hope to make one product that everybody wants. Unfortunately, it doesn't work so easily because you have competitors. So then you have to make one product that fits the need of a big group of people. Then there's more competitors entering. So then you make two products to benefit two groups of people. Then you make three products to benefit three groups of people. And then you go, you know what, let's fragment the market, make multiple brands for multiple group of people. So all of these become smaller targets, smaller niche markets. And if you have smaller niche markets, eventually you have sort of conquer the entire reason why people will want to buy this. And by doing this, it's harder for your competitors to gain any space. In addition, is you can get more of the distribution network. By covering so many needs, the distribution is buying more from you. They don't need to buy different brands from other companies to serve these multiple needs. So you become the sole supplier within a category for all the different needs. And therefore you have more distribution, more coverage. Also because you're selling more, you're buying more, so you have more margins. Also because you're selling more in multiple places, people know you more. And if they know you more, they think you're better, which is not true. But because they know you more, they think you're better. And therefore that's self-fulfilled the prophecy of you becoming more successful. Then the last one is new brands. So you do new brands because you also realize that your brand is not appropriate for the target. So here the perfect example is Toyota trying to sell a luxury car. Toyota cannot be seen as the standard, average, common, reasonable car, and at the same time, some sort of luxury, exclusive, unique, high personality. So they had to change the name. That way they can better manipulate the brand equity and not confuse and not dilute, you know. So obviously the Korean in the car industry are also learning with this. And that's why you have different brands that they use that come from the same manufacturer. You have Hyundai, you have Genesis, which is the high end, and then you have Kia, which is a different target. So when you have a label company, is you do this too, is you see that there are multiple targets, and therefore you need to have multiple artists that fulfill the needs of all of these targets. You try to make sure that each one has their own personas that they go after, their own style of music, and you try to cover as many needs within the market with all of these different artists. Then the last and the fifth branding strategy is co-branding, is when you have multiple brands who are benefiting from being combined together. So Intel inside I think is a very good example when they launched that, is people realized that there was a benefit in buying this brand of computer. So you're buying Hewlett Packard with Intel processor, and suddenly it was a benefit for buying this specific computer because there was the processor from Intel. So you're buying Slim Fast diet drink, but it's a chocolate flavor by Godiva. So it's like Slim Fast by Godiva. So this obviously has always been very common in the music industry, where you would have multiple artists working together and there would be one featuring the other. That's the idea behind this co-branding. Co-branding and branding here that we're talking about, these are sub-strategies. So if we go back to what we discussed since the beginning, is you have the objective, then you have the strategy that fulfills the objective. So the strategy is market penetration, new product development, diversification, market development, let's say, cost leadership, niche, okay? And under that, you have the sub-strategy. So what are the sub-strategy? We looked at some today. We had the sub-strategy of product line decisions, so the strategy of width and depth. We had the sub-strategy, which is, it's a strategy, but it's a strategy within the P, which is stretching and downward stretch. Then we had these 5 sub-strategies. So these are strategies, but they are not corporate strategies. They are not high-level strategies. They are lower-level strategies at the level of the 4 Ps. So are these tactics? I'm confused. They're not tactics. They are strategies. They are before tactics. So if you want, it's objective, strategies, sub-strategies, like this, and then tactics. Okay? That's why I told you there's a lot of things I said at the beginning that I didn't expect that you would understand. Like when I was talking about sub-strategies 3 weeks ago. What the heck is that? It's a strategy at a P level, and it's not a tactic. A tactic, it's a smaller piece that you would have to do, and a smaller actions that you would have to do within these. So this is a strategy, new product development. And so new product development is about thinking about creating a new product for the same market. The idea behind new product development is there is 4 cycles that the product goes under. So those 4 cycles is the idea that you want to increase your sales, but you can only increase your sales by looking at the life of a product. And the life of product, just to simplify it, it goes from birth to death. So the first stage is introduction. The last stage is decline. Do you remember this concept of Boston Consulting Group matrix, the BCG matrix? The BCG matrix is the matrix where you have the star, the question mark, the cash cow, and the dog. So the BCG matrix allows you to analyze your product portfolio in which one of those brands or product category that you have that fit in those different positions in terms of how much market share do you have and how much growth that you have. So this BCG matrix can then be represented also into the PLC, the product life cycle. So your products goes into growth, introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. And what happens is when it goes inside these different stages, is you have different strategy that or different focus that you have. So in the introduction stage, you must be trying to get people to hear and know about the product, being aware. In the next stage, you try to maximize share and grow the market in the growth. In the next stage, in the maturity, it's the opposite of the growth. So in that situation, you try to maximize the profit and defend your market share. So the profit margins in the stage 1 and 2, in terms of percentage, are usually much greater, which means that when you launch a new product, you usually make more money than when the product gets to be older. When the products get to be older, you make less money because you have more competitors. So when you get to the situation of maturity, this is when you have the most competitors. And in that situation, you try to defend your market share and you try to still make some profit, the most profit as possible. But what you're trying to do is to not be in a position where you have a decreasing market share or too fast decreasing market share because that's going to propel your product faster into the decline stage. So the decline stage is the stage where you essentially try to milk the brand. So the decline stage, it's sort of the cash cow, or maybe the cash cow is sort of the maturity, depends of which cash cow you're talking about. But definitely the dog is in the decline stage. It's an advanced decline stage. So in marketing, there's different tools to analyze, and there's no tool that tells you everything. It's sort of the overlapping of all of these tools that gives you sort of a scanning of the environment and a deduction of where you are and what you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to stop here because I want to move now to Theranos, the presentation, because I want to be able to meet with stream 3, 4, and 5 between 9 and 10. So do you have any question on anything that I've just presented just now?
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
So if considering that's the life cycle of a business,
it's not the life cycle of a business, it's a life cycle of the product of a business.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's not the life cycle of a business. In a business, you're going to have what I call P1, product 1, that you launch now. If you launch P1 thinking you don't need a P2, you're going to regret it because you're going to need a P2. And once you launch the P2, you can't go, that's it, I'm done. I've done my job, I have a P1, I have a P2, I'm safe. You have to launch a P3. After a P3, there's always going to be a P4. The only thing is you cannot say P's, the new P, 5, 6, 7, 8, we launch one every month. It would be irrelevant to use time as the way of launching new products. What it is it's all based on people's needs, number of competitors, innovation of your competitors. So the idea is that if you have a business, how do you survive? You survive because you have J&D. How do you have J&D? You have J&D because you do just noticeable difference, because you do research and you understand your consumers and you understand that the environment keeps changing. And if the environment keeps changing, you have to innovate, which means you have to have a P1, product 1, product 2, product 3. It's like a singer. It's like a singer, they would say, you know what? All I need is one song and I'm done. It's unlikely that they succeed. They will have song 1 and song 2 and song 3 and song 4, right? So timer, if we were to take a song and put it in the time, what's interesting with the song is sometimes you have a revival. I remember a few years ago, I was telling my kids that I really love Queen. And I was listening to Queen, and so that was like maybe 5 years ago, and they were making fun of me. You listening to Queen, you're like a grandpa. The Queen is for the grandpas. You know, Queen is for old people. It's for the gray hair people. And I said, I don't care what you think. To me, Queen is good, maybe even better than what you guys are listening. And then one day came the movie Queen. I mean, I'm sure you remember that. That's what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's not that old. And then everybody was starting to listen to Queen, including my kids. And then I said, gee, you're becoming gray hair too, I guess, because you're listening to Queen. And then they even went to see the movie because they said, oh, we have to see the movie. Everybody went to see the movie. We got to go watch the movie. So they watched the movie. And after the movie, they listened to Queen 20 times more. And I was like saying, maybe I'm not that old, I guess. So you see the point is there's a life cycle. And in music, sometimes there's a revival because there's a nostalgia cycle or there's a new generation that start learning about something, right? So does that make more sense, Tamer? The life cycle, the product?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, yes.
So it's not a business. You're welcome.